Becoming victoriously outspoken, initiating corrective environments. Finding your voice is not something that is going to be easy. And it's also something that you can't wait for permission on. It is not easy. Everybody will not appreciate it. It may seem like an overkill because when I talk about finding your voice or using your voice, people automatically go, "What do you mean?" The first thing is denial. Some people think that they really use their voice when they don't. You don't realize how much you have gone along to get along in your entire life. How many times you have suppressed what you thought, suppressed what you felt, suppressed how you felt, suppressed, everything just to not make waves. You don't realize it until it's gone very far. And it's by the time you realize it, you really have lost who you are. So when I say finding your voice, you got to remember, first of all, you cannot ask for permission. The only person that you need to get permission from for your voice is you. God has already given us permission. Let's start there. If you are a believer and you're wondering and you're thinking, no, you can never say everything you feel to everybody. But God has always given you permission to say and to feel how you feel, and you can always speak it to Him. And most of the time, 98% of the time, He has given you a person that you can speak your voice to all the time, who will not judge or who can understand. If you're married, that person is your partner. Nobody knows you like your spouse. At least that's the confidence and the way it should be in a healthy relationship. They may not always understand it, but they'll always respect it and listen to it. And there's confidence that it won't be shared outside of that. Because there are times that we feel things and that we say things that you never want repeated. Not only that, if you don't have a spouse, there's always that person who gets you. I have a best friend that I can just start texting a few words and immediately she has it, and I never have to say everything that I feel, because there are times that you will feel things that you are embarrassed to feel. That's how you know you're a real person. That's how you know you're finding your voice. There are times where you will have emotions that range from anger to excitement that's not always able to be articulated well, or that you're not always comfortable saying in a mixed environment, because it's a lot. But that's part of your voice. All of our voice isn't bad, and all of our voice isn't good, and that's why we have to find it. That's why this series on becoming victoriously outspoken, initiating corrective environments is important, because regardless of what your voice is, regardless of how it sounds, you can't afford to not use it or to not speak. The things that you suppress will come out, and they won't come out victoriously, and they won't create a corrective environment. They will create hostility, disappointment, and sometimes grief, because it's been suppressed for so long that by the time it comes out, you're hurting people, or you're saying it in the wrong way, or you're saying it and not getting the response that you want, but rather getting a reaction. And usually that reaction is negative. The difference between a response and a response is an invitation for a line of communication, a back and forth. A reaction is usually drastic. It is usually a permanent decision made off a temporary circumstance, and it is usually devastating. And that's not what you want. You really want the opposite of that. And that's why our voice matters, and we have to speak it, and we have to be clear, we have to be precise, and we have to be thinking about the person who's receiving it, the person who's receiving our voice and what we hope to get. When you're using your voice, it's okay to talk to yourself. As a matter of fact, it's mandatory, because sometimes you don't even realize the detriment or the depth of what you're saying until you speak it out loud. When you hear yourself say things out loud, That's when you start to understand how it sounds to other people. So it is healthy to have a dialogue with yourself. Remember, we are still finding our voice. We are still understanding that our voice is important, and we are still trying to create corrective and creative environments. We're not just speaking to be mean. We're not just speaking to just be heard. We're speaking because we want to change the environment and sometimes the people that we are around. It's been your girl. Don't ever lose your voice and don't stop speaking. We may have to tweak it a little bit. We may have to go back and correct. Sometimes you have to go back and say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to come out that way. But the option of not speaking is not an option. Bye-bye.